Thank you for joining us today on That Digital Marketing Show. Now here is your host, Jenny Jones.
Hey, this is Jenny Jones with That Digital Marketing Show. Listen, I'm glad you had an opportunity to tune in today. We won't hold you long, but we wanted to try to start getting some things, start breaking into some things like some outbound marketing, some inbound marketing, and some techniques and some things that'll help us out. And I had no other than, I thought about this guest. I'd been calling him. We miss each other, time zones. We finally had an opportunity to, he says, I will connect with you when it stops raining where you're at. And I said, I'll connect with you when you're no longer on the beach. Well, he's still on the beach and it's still raining here. Want to spend no more time in getting into introducing Mr. Harish Kumar of CrawlQ. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Jenny. And thank you for inviting me to this great show.
Hey, I'm glad you found opportunity. I'm glad you took me up on the offer because I want to get into some things that have kind of been some changes that have been going on. And I kind of want to go back to the beginning and kind of want to talk about, I think this show will mostly be about inbound marketing. How are we attracting the honey to how are we attracting people to our beehive, right? What kind of honey are we using? And some of the training courses that I teach, and I always talk about how do you get the honey, right? How are people finding you as the bee, the law of attraction? What kind of content are you putting out? And that's why I want to bring you to the show. So let's talk about, first of all, let's give us a little bit of background of your tool. And before we start breaking into it a little bit, I want to talk about some of the problems that your tool it helps people with. So give us about a 60-second spill on your tool, and then we're going to talk about what you discovered.
Yeah, well, I'll start from my sweet spot, and I'm product design engineer by profession. And over the last couple of years, I'm trying to solve this problem that there exist silos between product, sales, and marketing. And within those departments also there are silos. And when you extend the problem to understanding your business, trying to get more people towards your business, the first thing that people start or doing it wrong is not having a empathy filter. What I mean by this, a real connection with your audience. And that's what I think there's a big problem now, because everyone is trying to reverse engineer from the data, like artificial intelligence or data, this empathy filters. And this kind of practice and mindset from last 20 years. And that's what we are trying to break with CrawlQ. Break the silos, break this practice of reverse engineering from data. But first create your empathy filter with your audience. And that's the starting point with CrawlQ.
I like that. So you say create your empathy filter. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's the intelligence I think you've built in. And I think it's very timely. And I'm glad we have you on the show, is because I think Google has kind of caught up, if you will, to all these AI writers or artificial intelligence writers, because artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But what Google has realized is they say, people are going with what's hot, what's popular on the SEO or search engine optimization side. And then they're just trying to reverse engineer it, like packing all the words and all that, but they don't have empathetic. There's no sincerity into the content that they're creating. They're just creating it off of what they think the AI and or the robot will say or think that they need. And I think Google's in this business like, no, we want to land people when they search, we want them to go to authentic pages. And it sounds like you guys are trying to solve this problem. Now, what do you call it? You call it empathetic. What did you say it was?
Empathy filters.
Empathy filters. Give me a definition, breakdown of empathy filters and why that's important right now.
Yeah. Well, empathy filters directly connect with understanding your audience and their situation, what specific situation they are in. Because people are not going on Google to get Wikipedia knowledge. People are already well informed. People have a lot of resources to understand what stage of decision making they are. So it's really, really important that we understand the situation of our customer, where they are at this moment, and we bring the empathy so that they have both connection, a warm connection, and also they can make an informed decision at the stage where they are. And that can only happen if you first understand your audience deep down. You also understand at what stage of journey they are. Today I need to repair my gas stove, right? And I need to immediately find out how can I get repair of this gas stove of this particular brand. I'm not interested in learning how to repair the gas stove in general. I'm just looking for the particular brand, and I need the information or the how to connect with this brand. So people need to understand that for their customer, they need to understand where their customers are in the environment and the time path, because you see, environment is acting on this customer, and every one of us are traveling in a time path. So we need to understand where our customer is. We need to connect them with the empathy, and then apply all these data insights, AI insights, data insights to validate. I'll repeat it again, to validate if our empathy filters are correct.
To validate if our empathy filters are correct. And I'm seeing that, and Google has come out. They've what do you call? I'm not gonna say we'll call it shots fired, right? They're like, Google's come out. We see what you're doing with all this AI. I mean, there's tools that can write a full-blown article in
single click,
one click. I'm seeing that's like, whoa, what's going to happen? And so I think a lot of people started doing it. And then there's what you call, right? We call the bad actors, right? People say, oh, I like that. I can pump out 50 articles in 50 minutes, right? And do all that. And while there's money to be made in that, Google's caught up and says, but there's no authenticity here. So what they coming back and doing is, what are you doing to identify that particular person that needs to repair their stove and the brand? What are you doing instead of just putting out, here's how you repair those? No, I need somebody that's going to say, hey, for this particular brand, this brand is better than this brand when it comes to the long-term use of your stove. This one is better if you don't use your stove as much. It needs to have, AI can't tell you that. Only a human can tell you that, right? And so you're saying your software could help identify that and bridge that gap. Is that what you're telling me right now? Are you going on record? Are you going on record to tell me that right now?
Yes, I'm going to tell it and claim it on record.
Oh, wow. Okay. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, what I want to say, there are two things I want to answer on this is in CrawlQ, the approach is people first approach. So as a business owner or as a brand strategist or content strategist, you come up with the idea who you are targeting. And that's what Google also said first, update, helpful content update draft, that you need to have intended audience in mind before writing the content. That's the first bullet, if you see in the draft that is published by Google, and this current update that is going on. So you must have an intended audience, and I call it your audience persona.
Got it.
That's where the starting point of the CrawlQ. Now, second question I want to address, you said Google is questioning the authenticity of the content.
Sure.
And that's right, because all these AI models are trained on the existing set of information. So AI cannot create a new information. All the information that already there on the Google, that is how the models are trained.
So that's how they're derived. So AI model goes out and look what's already been distributed and try to give that to you. But everything that's already been distributed is not taking the people first approach. It's more taking the almost a keyword kind of approach and then kind of putting it together and say, here you go, here's a document. And what Google is saying is, no, we want you to be authentic. We want you to have your target audience in mind. If you are trying to target teachers, or if you are trying to target law enforcement or what have you, then that needs to be in mind when you write the content. Or am I on the right track?
Yeah, you're on the right track.
And I remember having this discussion with you once before, because I noticed even using your tool, I just used it the other day, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. I may even go into it when we talk about it on SaaS Use Case TV, because we definitely have to go in here and look at a serious use case at this. I'm going to share with you. You're going to be proud of me, but I use your tool because I was struggling with the data, right? I kept thinking to myself, I want to target this audience. I want to target this audience. That's who I want to target. Yeah. And the data was telling me that's not your audience. Mm-hmm. That's not your audience, because I started using your persona filter and started using your the intelligence built in. Your intelligence was coming back to me. No, your audience are females between this age and this age. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, it's not. And I started arguing with it. When I started writing content to that, I got so much more activity and organic traffic as a result of that. So I want to just tell you that I appreciate that. But what I also will tell you is I mixed it in with another tool. I mixed it in with a persona only tool. Mm-hmm. And I mixed it in with yours. And let me tell you the funny thing about it. This is true story. And I hopefully I may do this on SaaS Use Case TV. I may just do this just to prove my theory. They both, the persona one, the persona tool only, it just looked at my my Google Analytics. Mm-hmm. I looked at my Google Analytics only. Yours, I fed it with information and some other stuff, and it said, no, well, this is that. They both came back saying the same thing. And I started changing my content, and man, I have seen a pop. So, because I used theirs to confirm what yours had said, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. So this is going to be some quality pieces that I'm going to start delivering as a result of that. Your Athena training, right?
Yeah.
The Athena, we're being funny, but there's a process he has in there. It's called Athena, where it goes and it kind of trains the AI to be intelligent about the persona that you're picking up. So do you have any comments on that? I mean, because I know you're going to break it down even further on SaaS Use Case TV. I just wanted to keep this high level so we can talk about some of those issues. What else have you seen, or do you want to comment anything on that?
Since you said Athena, I want to comment on that. Athena is very smart AI intelligence layer between these language models. And let me tell you a very specific thing about it. So it really breaks the pattern of what neural network has learned on the internet. So Athena is going there and breaking that pattern. And breaking that pattern is important because then once that pattern is broken, the neural network is not going to give the same information that it has learned, right? So Athena is telling this neural network to unlearn something.
Yes.
And then inject my own insight and then give me what I want. So you're in the full control on your steering when you're driving your Mercedes on the German highway.
Listen, people, Athena is real. They have technology built into this software. It is real. That's why I wanted to get them on the show, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Now I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. When I first looked at your tool over a year ago, probably about a year and a half ago, I was like, man, I don't understand this. And here's the reason why. I was trained to think a certain way. I was trained to think like the internet. But what you did is you took me back to the history of some of my theory classes in marketing when they talked about buyer behavior. Yeah. Why is a person buying what they're buying, or why are they looking at? Identify who that person is first. And then I went through some other classes. I took a couple more certifications, and then I found out everybody can't, as much as I want, because when we first start our businesses, we want to be big. We want to grow fast. We want to grow overnight. And what we're finding out, and what I found out early on, and what I've been teaching in all the classes that I've taught, is everybody's not your customer. Exactly. The internet is this big, but I promise you, your customers is only about that big. And if you write to them, they're the ones that will keep you in the business with you if you're doing inbound marketing. Is that a fair statement?
Exactly. Somebody just today posted on my comment saying that nobody, if you have great product, nobody looks at it and nobody pay attention. But my question is, I'm not targeting that nobody. I'm targeting a small portion of the
Right.
market, which
Right.
is minded people, which get connect with me, and that's where the sweet spot I wanted to target. So market is always a small portion of the people who
Right.
really can resonate and solve their problem, and that's
Right.
your right.
So you really want to resonate with the people because everybody's not going to pull out their credit card. Everybody's, and I found that out. I remember when I first started doing Facebook ads, and I was spending so much money, right? Because I wanted to do it on my own. I wanted to learn it. I started a couple years ago, and I wanted to learn it. I was like, man, I'm spending all this money, and then I started looking at the pattern, the persona, right? Who's interacting, who's at least looking, who's viewing, how long are they viewing for? And it was women. And I mean, for one of my products, it was women. I was like, no, I don't want women. I want men, right? But it just kept coming back. No, it's women. And they're between this age. It's like, no, I want men. I want them to pick up on this. And so, and my point is, once I did that, then I got some more intelligent tools like yours and a couple others. And I was just figuring out, I was like, man, I get it. I surrender. And I started writing to this age group, very small window. And it was mostly females because in my retirement business that I do, the females kind of drive some of the decision making. The men are the one, this is not a blanket statement, but what I found in my research is the men will be the one that will confirm it. But the women will do the research and says, honey, we need to do this. We need to get a will. We need to get a trust. And she brings it back to her husband and they have a discussion and he's like, you're right. And she's like, I found these three. And then the man kind of nails it down to the one. And I know our household kind of works like that. Every household doesn't work like that. But when I started, go ahead, Seth.
I can confirm my household work like that.
So your household, okay, that's so ironic. We're just saying that. But when I figured that out, I'm writing to the women and their emotions, and they're insecure about the future. And, if their husband passes away before they do, are they going to be educated and make the right decisions? But the thing I had to do when I was writing is I had to remove a lot of jargon, right? I had to be real with them and I had to speak their language, and my business has taken off. I mean, so much so that I was like, I don't know if I want to launch this show, right? But I have a passion of kind of sharing what I've learned, but I still want to do it, but I want to be able to help people out in their decision making. That's why it's so important to have you on the show, because your tool takes the persona. It's like, hey, you want to get to the writing, we'll get to the writing. Yeah. Let's identify the persona and the people and their facts. What do you call it? What's the new one? The
empathy filters.
What?
They're empathy filters. So we should have empathy filters.
What is it again?
Empathy filters.
Oh, empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy. I'm sorry, empathy. So I apologize for that. I just want to make sure I got it right. So the empathy filters, the ones that'll make people pull out their credit cards. we talk about that. I was in this big mastermind course. We talk about, everybody's not going to pull out their credit card. So do you want to add anything to what I just said? I mean, because it's like I'm coming into this new awakening. I think Google doubled down on this. This is what we want you to do. We want to remain the king of search. We want to make sure that when people click on a link that they're getting what they exactly asked for. Am I right in that saying that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right. And what I want to add, we need market resonance, and the psychologists called something as a practice. It's called cognitive dissonance. So the cognitive dissonance meaning is over the period of time, if something gets very comfortable and you get into habit, then you start creating that practice, and everybody take that. So I call the current SEO practice for last 10-20 years as kind of dissonance from your audience, because people are just trying to master the placement of keyword in the text such that Google algorithm can place this on higher. And this is becoming a habit of the people, and this habit and mindset is turning away the searchers, because searchers are real people. They are not looking for placement of keyword in a text.
They don't care.
They're looking for real solutions
to solve their problems
and where they want to go, right?
and if you can solve my problem, I'm going to pull out my credit card.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I hate to keep saying that, but that's true. If you're looking at this station, you are a digital marketer, you are an entrepreneur, you are a small business, and you're trying to convert people into customers, right? One other thing I'll make, and I wonder what your take is on this, and I'm probably going to get into this habit of asking my guest this, but do you see a shift, right? Because we had this wave, right? Went through this wave, and now that you're getting into, post COVID-19, and that's not really gone, but people have had a lot of opportunity to slow down and understand a little bit more. And then you have this inflationary period sneaking in. So now people are very careful in what they're spending their money on, because normally when we had money and things are going well, and we had equity in housing prices and all that, people pull out their credit card, no problems. Now that things are getting a little thinner, people, I think, and maybe I just want to get your take on this. Are people moving away? Because I knew that, you used to do the landing pages and your click funnels and all that. Or are people getting away from these transactions and wanting to do more relationships with their purchases? What's your thought on that? I could be wrong, but I'm starting to see the shift. What do you think?
I see a clear trend where people don't want to spend a big budget on the paid ad, because that is not getting them somewhere and the ROI is not clear. So first preference of everyone is to have a deep down research, understand their audience, understand their market, because with the paid ad, people were earlier trying the same thing. They were creating a lookalike audience, putting a lot of money, doing A/B test, and then it take months to figure out still who is your audience. And by the time they already burnt a lot of money. Now VC money is not coming right now, right?
Right. Money's not coming now. Yeah.
So you have only other option is to sit down, relax, take a step back, and really figure it out, the problem that you're solving and how you connect with a certain set of audience, and then start your content strategy. Create different scenarios of where this person and what are the specific situation of this person and how you can help this person. So you will save a lot of money that you are spending on ad. You don't need to run to VC to get money right now. You can do this approach and create a strategy which is having a long-term impact, right? Because the strategy that you will create with this approach will bring you long-term result, more capital efficiency. So
so what I was saying, and that's fair. So that's looking at it from a small business side and or founder side. What I was giving you was the consumer. Now, are their habits changing? And I think that's what I was saying, is versus just wanting these quick transactions, or even, and I've told people this, and I've told this, and I've said this to some of my classes, some of my students. I says, listen, if you're in the transaction business, that's going to get old real fast. You need to be in the relationship business if you want to stay in business. And if you're not creating value for your customers or your clients, they're going to go away. They don't want to continue to make these monthly payments to you, and you're not adding value. How are you making them better? How are you making life easier for them? Your comments on that?
Yeah, I mentioned capital efficiency, and we are going to talk on your studio SaaS, right?
SaaS use case. Yeah, listen. If you don't have a subscription to SaaS use case, you're missing out, right? So we're going to go underneath the hood on this tool, and we're going to peel back so many layers of this tool. You'll find out that this is probably a tool that you must have in your bag, right? I use this tool. It's probably very rare that I'll have a founder and or a tool on my show that I haven't used or haven't had some experience with. And I speak from authenticity. I don't tell you stuff that I've never tried or never seen. That's not who I am. But on this digital marketing show, we will talk about things that's going to help you and your business and change your bottom line. And I've been hoping, I'm going to ask you right here, I'm going to see if I can get a commitment. but we're going to have an annual event. I'm going to start next year. I was hoping to probably get you on the panel, possibly. So are you going to make a commitment here live where everyone can hear you and possibly see you? It's like, what am I committing to?
Let me give one idea here.
Sure.
Why don't we bring Rand Fishkin? Rand Fishkin is former Moz CEO, and he is one of the founder, or is SparkToro founder, and he is right now only person I can see is advocating for audience research. His approach is more data driven, like SparkToro collect all the data, where your audience are fun and having, like, where they are going. My approach is more from empathy, and if we can bring Rand Fishkin, and if
He's the co-founder?
he's
of
a
the-
he's co-founder of SparkToro. Rand Fishkin is a former Mod CEO. You will a lot of your audience might know him. He's an influencer in the content marketing, and he's the only person right now who is asking everyone to do the audience research.
So can you help me get him on the show?
Yeah, we should do that. I will do that.
All right, we're gonna do that. So you heard it here first, people. We're trying to listen. I'm trying to make a different type of show, right? There's a lot of things out there. I'm trying to give you speakers. I'm trying to give you authentic people who are trying to help you in your business. I'm trying to show you these tools, these game-changing tools. There's a million tools out there. I'm trying to give you the ones that's changing the game, that's going to change the game for you and your business. As we kind of bring this show to a close, I kind of want, and again, it's called CrawlQ. We're going to talk about it. There should be a link in the description. It'll be a link to my store where you can look and find any of these tools that we discuss. That's a store you're going to be able to find that. It's shop.saasusecastv.com. That'll be a link there. You can find this tool. You'll find this tool up there. You'll be able to get that. But as we kind of close a little bit here, Mr. Kumar, is there anything else you want to give my viewers one secret tip or tad bit that maybe they've been doing this in the past, but let me tell you where we're going, and actually I'm gonna back it up to tell you that I know for a fact that the industry is moving this way. For digital marketers, give us something sweet and juicy that they probably will only hear on this channel.
Yeah. So what I want to say is to make your life easy. Let's focus on the pupil first content and using the audience persona approach. And this is going to be number one secret for next 5 years, where you will be starting with audience persona rather than keywords, topics that currently everyone is getting confused and mad about this. So if you talk to SEOs, they will not agree with me. But we are going to break this pattern, and pupil first content using audience persona is going to drive the digital marketing, content marketing for next many years, I think.
So I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that. Let me clarify. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear. You still go to these search engines and put things in, right? They're still going to go and search because this is what they do, right? This is query searching and basic queries. You're searching for a set of keywords and things of that nature. What you're telling me is based on organic traffic, Google is going to have already crawled your page and or your content and make the decision to serve your content up over someone else's content who does not have this methodology in place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Google is going to override all your topics, but Google is going to first figure out who is the intended audience for this content. And Google will do all the work of SEO by themselves. Their algorithm will figure out what is the main topic, what is the subtopic, what is the topic cluster, and all those stuff that people are busy right now and not trying to figure out the empathy filters. They will all the things that you are doing right now will be automated by Google. Google can already do a meta tag description. In any of the blog, I have not put meta description, keyword, but Google is already trying to understand this content and putting it when I see my content, and they're ranking on page one of Google. So if you follow the people first approach, Google will do the SEO for you, and Google will also first override anything that you are trying, sort of this tactics that you are applying, right? Google will throw it away, do the SEO part themselves, and serve this content to the people who need this. Maybe not right now from the next 2 weeks, maybe this will come in next 1 year, but this is going to happen for sure.
Wow. So Google is trying to right the wrong. They trained it. Their algorithm is getting more intelligent. And so what they've done is they says, hey, we've conditioned or we've created an algorithm to do this and deliver. And maybe that was popular for the last 10, 15 years, right? But this is now we're going to change the game. And here's how I know, and what you're saying, and I'm doubling down on that. On YouTube, you used to could put these tags in, right? You put the tags, say this tag is about this, tag is about that. They came out, their Google conference, their YouTube conferences, we're not interested in tags anymore because people were just baking the tags, baking words in. But then when someone lands on the page, because the problem they had with I think this probably started on YouTube first before it was moving to Google. Google's a bigger engine, but I think they found it out on the YouTube side because they found out you said all of this, and then when the people get there, it's not that. And so they leave. And what we want is we want to be the destination for people to find the right content and stay there. Because if you stay there and you're reading and you're listening to the content, then they can serve their ads. They can get more ads over the content that you're viewing. And or does that make sense? I may be wrong, but I think YouTube did it. I think YouTube started with it first. And I think it's shifting over to Google, because Google is really, they don't want to be a Wikipedia. They want to be, yeah, go ahead as we close out. Yeah.
One of the driving force for Google was Reddit, because Reddit audience were going crazy with Google ideas. So if you see most of the people who are searching, and if they know what they're searching, they will put the main problem or query, and then they will add word Reddit. So everyone want to go via Google to Reddit to find the problem, genuine discussion. And Reddit is really forcing this behavior of the searcher, is really forcing Google to rethink, because they are just becoming a postman between Reddit and the searchers.
Yeah.
And that's driving them crazy.
I didn't know that. So you learned something here today, people. I learned something. That makes sense. I can see that making sense, because I use this other tool. I don't know if I'll get that founder on or not, but I use this other tool and I'll type in these queries. I get more information coming from Reddit in my returns than anything else. I didn't know why. I'm not a big Reddit fan, but somebody told me, oh, no, you need to get into Reddit. I was like, oh, okay, I'll look at it. Now I want to see what's going on. So listen, this is great. This has been a great discussion. Hopefully people will take this to heart. Hopefully they'll like, subscribe, and I'm telling you, I promise you, we're going to be doing something different on this channel. So go ahead and please like and subscribe. We are just getting started. Thank you for joining us here on That Digital Marketing Show. Put your comments below if you got any comments. Do you agree, disagree? Mr. Kumar, he's part of this page, so he'll comment if he sees your comment on this episode or something like that. You can find us on your podcast, some of your podcast streaming as well, just in case you're just listening to us via podcast. But we're going to go over now. We're going to get underneath the hood of this tool that he keeps talking about. I think they made some changes too. I was in there and I got to ask him. He's made a lot of changes. I need to ask him about some of these changes. But if you haven't familiar with this tool, again, you can find that in our store, shop.sasusecasetv.com. You're going to find his tool in there, but we're also going to be doing a breakdown on, if you go to app.sasusecasetv.com, you're going to get access to our use case TV. And I think I'm going to put a discount code in there too. If you remember this show and you found us here, I think I'm going to put a discount in there so you guys can get that access and lower the cost on that. Put an inflationary discount in there so you guys can take advantage of that. And we'll go from there. Listen, any parting words there, Mr. Kumar, before I close out the show?
Yeah, I think let's drop this one more idea that you don't have to be on Reddit to get benefit from Reddit, because CrawlQ and Athena take cares of that. Athena pull all the information from Reddit and also on Quora, so you don't have to be there. You just said you are not on Reddit. That's what I said. You don't have to be on Reddit. You just have to be on CrawlQ and train Athena.
Athena, I'm telling you, man, you guys have got to see it. Go check us out. Get SaaS Use Case TV. We're going to break this puppy down. We got to get into it. Hey, listen, this has been Jenny Jones. Thank you guys for tuning in on this episode of That Digital Marketing Show. Hey, please stay tuned and tune in. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot of stuff. Until next time.
Thank you for joining
Goodbye
us on
for
That
now.
Digital Marketing
Bye-bye.
Show.
Thank you.
Be sure to catch the full episode at thatdigitalmarketingshow.com. Until next time, goodbye for now.